Alright guys, welcome to a bit of a training session here. This is just a Thursday training session. Kind of getting back into the swing of things with weightlifting. Thinking about doing kind of a 6-month weightlifting cycle and getting back to training with one of my athletes, Michael Cordozo. And so warming up the session here, just with some snatch work. Getting back into weightlifting for me, a lot of my work is going to be on getting comfortable underneath the bar, building confidence kind of in the bottom of my snatch position. My cleans feel really good, which I do a little bit later on, but this session I was just kind of playing around with my foot position, starting a little bit wider. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of knowing what feels really good, tempo timing with my pulls, with my lockout, and everything with the snatch. So this drill is going to end up being a 2 pulls, I think it's 2 or 3 pulls into 1 full snatch with an overload. I like to warm up and just do pulls, do power snatches, warm up that overhead position, obviously. So just kind of warming up here. I have new knee sleeves. These are like called Stoic knee sleeves. These are powerlifting knee sleeves, but if I'm being honest, the fact that they're branded Stoic, I really like that. So they got me on the branding. Comment if you guys have ever used powerlifting knee sleeves. They're hard as hell to get on, dude. They're so tight. I had to watch a video on like how to put these knee sleeves on, but I will say they keep me feeling very, very secure. They work very, very well, as you can see here, me trying to get these on. But yeah, so just getting back into the swing of things with training. Training Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, if all things go well. Throwing in some CrossFit on some of those days, kind of as a 2-a-day, just to keep me fit. And I love doing CrossFit, obviously, as a owner of a CrossFit gym, so kind of doubling up on some days there. But throwing the straps on here as I get up to 135. Again, just going to work on that vertical extension, pull. Oh no, just kidding. Just go into the snatch. Why waste my time? I think the next, all right, so here we go. You can see that I have 25s on the outside here, so this is an overload. So I'm overloading the pull. I actually got this drill from my first ever kind of weightlifting coach, Ben Cobian Strength in California. I don't know if he's still coaching or not, but you can think of it like a baseball player, right? When they're going up to bat, they put the donut on the bat, and then they take swings, right? So like overloading the nervous system, making that bat feel heavier. That way when they take it off and they actually go up to bat, they're able to swing faster, right? So working on pull mechanics, but then also on finishing the pull, feeling strong with the pull, and then you strip the weight off, and now we're down 155. Here's like 75%, and that pull should feel really strong. And so that's kind of what this drill is all about. Again, what you'll notice in these snatches, at least what I'm noticing in these snatches, again, just my catch position just looks a little awkward. I just need to get back to building, like I said, confidence, positional awareness, and strength in that position. I think also too, again, like I said, I'm playing around with a little bit wider stance in my setup, which I think was causing me to get a bit wider in my catch than I'm used to. So I'll continue to play around with that a little bit. I might go back to just having my feet more or less right underneath my hips, a little bit closer to each other. I don't squat very wide anyways as it is. So if anything, I'm just trying to help with my thoracic spine, my overhead position, with my shoulders, because my T-spine mobility is always something I'm trying to improve. My shoulder mobility specifically is something I'm always trying to improve. And it's honestly the main limiter in my snatches, is that overhead mobility. So that's something I need to continue to work on. I'm going to get into the full snatch here. I will say one thing that I am liking about my snatches is my setup position. I'm being really intentional with setting my back Playing around here, joking around with Justin. But what you'll notice in my setup position is I'm being really intentional with my thoracic spine, my lats, my scaps, and just using that to really lock the bar and keep the bar close to me. So I'm very pleased with that. I will say one thing I do notice, though, on some of these pulls with the heavier weight, and I think this is a byproduct of me going with a bit wider feet, is my hips are rising a bit soon. Watch. Yeah, it's not too bad. I feel like I'm getting a little bit too... Yeah, no, honestly, this looks pretty decent to me. We'll see how it looks when I go into the... All right, that one, I got a little bit over the bar more than I would like, a little bit of a deadlifty position. Again, one of the things I'm always thinking about is I want to be feeling that pressure off the floor in my quads, a little bit more vertical. I do want my hamstrings and my glutes engaged, of course, but we don't want to get into this position where our hips are getting so high that you're more likely to create horizontal movement of the hip. We want to be in positions where we can create vertical extension, and when we get way too pitched over the bar and our hips too high, that can be hard to do. That was good. That was solid. That's a solid snatch right there. I don't know. To me, it looks a little awkward. Maybe not super comfortable in the bottom position, but I'm probably being a bit of a perfectionist and hard on myself. So one more set here. I like that good extension. And hips rose a little fast on that one for me off the floor. Same thing there. And again, it's small, but on that one, I kind of rocked back to my heels on the very last bit of that high pull, which lets me know, like, yeah, my hips rose too fast. I got a little bit too rocky on my feet, rocking forward to back. You want to finish those pulls up on the toes, shoulders slightly vertical or even behind the bar a little bit, but you don't want to be rocking back to your heels at the finish of a pull, right? That's when you're going to be probably jumping backwards, bar's going to be out in front of you, all that kind of stuff. So, boom. That was solid. Looks pretty good. That's definitely wider than I squat, though, so I don't know about that. All right, moving on to cleans here. My cleans feel really, really good. We do cleans all the time in CrossFit classes, right? I've been doing nothing but CrossFit up into this point for the past, I would say, almost 6 months at this point, probably. Just taking a 1-hour class with my gym, loving every bit of it. But I will say that in that, my cleans have been feeling really good. So this is a halting clean, right? Just working, again, on that first pull to the knees. Where's your body position? Where's the weight going in your feet? Again, really liking my setup position, liking how I'm driving off the ground through that first pull. This is my working weight, just 225 here, about 101 kilos, 101, 102 kilos. And it also will be with 2 front squats, right? So boom, 1, beautiful, and more, and it's going to go into 2 front squats here. Working that squat strength under fatigue. When it comes to Olympic weightlifting, when it comes to squatting, you're really using the squats as a way to improve your classic lifts. Getting strong for the sake of getting strong in the squats is not really what we're going for with Olympic weightlifting. Obviously, the stronger your squat is, the better potential output strength you'll have with the classic lifts, but it's not always one for one. And so I like making sure that, like, when it comes to front squatting and things like that, doing it, whether it's in a complex or doing like pin squats, bottoms up front squats, making sure that front squat strength work or development really is targeted at making your clean better, making sure that, if you're just doing normal front squats, you are hitting true depth of what your clean catch would be, throwing pauses in, right? Throwing it in after some cleans to just work on that fatigue of that position. Nice. Yeah. Again, there's nothing wrong with doing just traditional squat strength work at all. Strength is never a weakness, as Mark Bell would say, but, it needs to be in context, and I do believe that, like, speed matters, body position matters, right? If you're squatting heavy, but you're continually loading your hamstrings and your glutes, and you're not working on the mechanics of being able to shove those knees and those hips forward and load your quads, it's not always going to be as beneficial for the classic lifts. Like, yes, getting stronger is good, but if you want it to really translate to the classic lifts, making sure that those front squats look like what your clean looks like. And so just a little complex here, building leg strength, leg fatigue. Love it. I think this is the last set here. Might have one more. Again, really like my setup position here. I'm being really intentional, pulling those hips down, trying to arch that back. Hips are rising a little bit here as well. I'm going to be more intentional with this next session of just really, really trying to keep that back angle consistent off the ground, making sure that I'm driving straight up through the quad, through the full foot, full leg complex. Boom. Like that. I'm a bit aggressive with my knees out. It's just a technique that I think works well for me, gets my adductors engaged, gets my knees out of the way in a healthy, safe way. It's something I use with most of my athletes as well. Finishing out the session here with some behind the neck jerks. If you've never done behind the neck jerks, or if it's not something you do a lot, this is a beautiful way to overload and build strength in the split jerk. Just because that bar is already in the perfect position, you just have to focus on dipping and driving straight up and down. You don't have to worry about driving it out in front of you or anything like that. So as you get stronger with this position and more confident with this position, you can actually start to really overload your jerk and get the feeling of what it's like to have heavier loads overhead than maybe what your normal jerk is. This is the first week of doing these, so getting back into it. You also have an opportunity to have a really aggressive dip and drive here because, again, the bar is on the back instead of in that front rack position. I really love the way these are looking here. One of the things I'm looking for on that split jerk position, specifically with the behind the neck, is making sure on that dip and drive, again, that chest isn't coming forward. That bar on that back, you might have an inclination to dip with that chest forward. Also making sure you finish the drive. I know for me, sometimes on a behind the neck jerk, I can not finish my drive up all the way and just focus on getting under. But you got to make sure that you finish that drive, get that bar in the air, and then go ahead and get under it. I'll talk about this at the end of this training thing. I give a little just talk at the end while I'm in the sauna, but I was really sore coming into this session. Like, this was the first full week of me training. This was a Thursday. I'd already had a couple days of training under my belt, and we squatted a decent amount of volume on Monday, and dude, I was so sore. So I was really happy that things were moving well, and I felt springy. I felt good, which again I'll talk about at the end of this, but it's always funny. Novel stimulus. I'm very fit and I wouldn't say strong, but I'm just very fit right now. So to be this sore was really funny. But it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this stuff. When you give your body novel stimulus, new training stimulus, you change up a program where you can get smacked with soreness, even if you're very fit and strong in that moment. So yeah, these are looking very snappy. I'm very happy with how these are looking. It took me definitely a couple sets to get comfortable with them. I haven't done behind the neck jerks in a very long time. I've done normal jerks, but again, it does take a bit to get used to where that bar is placed, where it ends up over your head, the dip and the drive from the back. But I've had an Olympic weightlifting coach tell me one time that my moderate percentage jerks are some of the best he'd ever seen. And then once I get to heavy percentages, they go to shit. So I'm always trying to work on taking this technique I have at these moderate percentages, which this is 240 here. This is 80-ish% or so. And it looks good. I mean, I will say it looks good. My 90+% doesn't always look like this, and especially when I'm going for PRs. But yeah, all right, little talk coming up here. All right, guys, in the sauna post-training session there. It's September 26, 2024, and thought I'd just give some thoughts on the training session. Kind of first training vlog I'm putting up on this YouTube page, and just trying to record things for the Stellar Strength Barbell, which is the weightlifting affiliated club with Upreach CrossFit, my gym, and so just trying to put up content. Overall, felt like the session went well. You saw some of the clips. Everything was moving pretty good. It's interesting. I'm very sore today. Got back into training hard this week with a Monday and Tuesday 2-a-day session. Nothing crazy, just a weightlifting session and then a CrossFit session with the class at my gym. But novel stimulus, very sore from that. But doing a power sport like Olympic weightlifting, it can be misleading when you're sore, because a lot of people will assume that if you're sore, you're not recovered or your recovery is down. It just depends on what kind of training you're doing. If you're doing, bodybuilding, muscular building training, then yes, muscular soreness might detract from your next training session. If you're doing strength training, primarily power training, that's all about nervous system adaptation. Just because your muscles are sore doesn't mean your nervous system isn't recovered. And so like for me today, my muscles are very sore, but my nervous system is really recovered. And I felt very springy and very strong, very powerful. And so, in the middle of the lifts, I feel really good. I'd go to sit down though, and I'd all of a sudden start feeling really stiff. And that can get in your head when you're training or when you're competing or anything like that. And you just got to remind yourself that for this sport specifically, or power sports, just because you're sore doesn't mean you aren't going to perform well. It can, but it doesn't one for one mean that. And vice versa. You can have days where you come in and joints feel great, you're not sore at all, you feel really loose and stretched out, and then it's just sloppy, right? Because again, your nervous system might not be recovered. You might have bad recovery, you might be getting sick, bad night of sleep, whatever, right? So just remember, if you are somebody that's doing power training, that just because you're sore doesn't always mean it's going to be a bad session. Now, if you're doing something like CrossFit or, again, bodybuilding or something like that, if you're pretty sore, it can detract from your performance when you're going to be asking your body to do high volume, concentric, eccentric repetitions of something, if those muscles are already sore. And that's where it'd be like, probably take another rest day or something like that. So, but yeah, I thought the training session went well overall, just getting back into the swing of things, trying to get some of my technique back, and just focusing on small things, mid-back integrity and snatches, just speed and comfortability getting under the bar. My cleans feel really good. Cleans are something that there's less technique overall in snatch. There's still technique there, but if you're powerful, if you're strong, you can get away with some things in the clean, whereas in the snatch, for me at least, I need to spend a lot of time under the barbell. My overhead position is not fabulous. My overhead mobility is not fabulous. And I start to feel a lot better on snatches when I just do repetition of getting under the bar, and then I can start feeling pretty confident with it. But yeah, I think it was a good session, kind of finishing out the week here. It's a Thursday, so finishing out the week strong, and hope to see you guys in the next one.